Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of the Hello Cannot podcast. I'm your host Kevin, and I would like to share a bit in terms of the recent terrorism attacks in France, right? And I'd like to share a bit more on why both sides are wrong, why it's important to always to be aware, to know of these global issues, and why it's even more crucial to know what to take away from these events. So before you get into things, it's very important to know the background of why these terrorist attacks have happened. So I will take us back to the year 2015, right? So in 2015, in a weekly newspaper publisher named the Charlie Hebdo, they published a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad. And basically, to share a bit on the background, this Prophet Muhammad is something that should never have a face. You should never have a picture of it due to certain restrictions where they do not want to idolize the prophet, right? So with the publication of this Charlie Hebdo cartoon, basically what happened was it led to some retaliation. People did not like that this publisher was making fun or basically making satire out of their prophet. So this is in a way a type of religious attack. And of course, it never sits well with anyone if you're offended. So what happened was there was one major terrorist attack that was conducted by two Muslim brothers. They went into the office with weapons. They killed 12 people and injured 11 more, right? So that was one of the biggest historical events of terrorism in the year 2015. It was a very big moment in France. And what happened was there was a manhunt that went on for these two brothers. They were found, they were caught, and they died during the shooting crossfires. And basically, this caused a huge backlash, and it caused more friction between the French and the Muslim Islamic community. So, fast forwarding to the year 2020, in the month of October, a teacher, Samuel Paty, who was 47 years old, was basically targeted for showing cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad to his students, right? His student, 18-year-old Abdullah Anzarov, was actually shot dead by the police shortly after the attack. But 7 people, including 2 students and a parent, one of Mr. Patty's pupils, were detained in the days following the killing, right? And this actually exploded further because what happened next was there's outrage in the Muslim community, and they basically created this stance where they're trying to boycott French products, right? So this was happening all over in supermarkets, in groceries, and it was a movement that they were trying to spread to increase awareness among the community. Now, basically what happened next was within a span of a week, there was 3 terrorist attacks that happened within the same day, right? So this is one day right before France went back into the COVID-19 lockdown. There were 3 terrorist attacks with a potential 4th one that was thankfully identified early and prevented. So to share a bit, the first attack was inside a church in Nice at 9 a.m. So Nice is basically a town within France, and three innocent civilians died because of this first attack. So one of the elderly victims was virtually beheaded, as officials said on the news in BBC. Another woman and a man also died. So the male suspect was shot and detained, and basically anti-terror prosecutors have opened an investigation into the attack, and France raised its national security alert to its highest level. And there were 2 more attacks that actually happened on that day itself, one more in France and one in Saudi Arabia. So the other attack in France happened in Montfavet, where a man was shot dead near the southern French city of Avignon after threatening police with a handgun. A guard was attacked outside the French consulate in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and the suspect was arrested and the guard was taken to the hospital. Essentially, this is the result from 2 conflicting cultures and rising tensions, right? Humans are known to be social creatures. We are hardwired to thrive best in a community than we ever can alone. But at the same time, we like to associate ourselves with people of the same beliefs and culture. So in the 21st century, with internet capable of connecting just any two individuals in the world, humans feel most comfortable identifying themselves in groups that agree on the same topic. So although we have made huge progression towards the advancement of mankind, but we cannot also ignore that this also promotes and embraces stupidity and ignorance. So I see it as a spectrum, right? From you have the smartest group of people who are skeptical of their work and actions, to the dumbest people who are most confident of their unfounded beliefs. So let me tell you, that there exist irresponsible groups such as flat earthers, anti-vaccine people that still till today thinks that vaccine causes autism, and conspiracy theorists, where have they all have a place that they call home now. And this is actually a virtually created safe space that allows them to gather, to spout nonsense, and to dig deeper alongside each other down a rabbit hole. Religion actually sits on the entire spectrum as well, from the faithful who promote kindness and facilitators of peace, to the extremists who are quick to take action on anyone challenging their stances. And this is exactly what happened to France a few days ago, and the same has happened over centuries as far as the beginning of adoption to religion. Remember when during ancient Egyptian times, people believed that there was a sun god, the god of the sun, and to promote rain, they would sometimes sacrifice people, right, and kill them off as part of the ritual. And I'm sure that there would have been retaliation attempts. Why should I die because of your god, or why do I need to be sacrificed instead of other people? So France, like the USA, promotes freedom of speech as part of its constitution. But are the citizens really educated on what freedom of speech means? So to give a quick answer, it's no. If anyone can just Google this law, they'll find out that there are many exception cases contained within this freedom. To just quickly read out a summary of the French law regarding freedom of speech: the exercise of this freedom, since it carries with it duties and responsibilities, may be subject to such formalities, conditions, restrictions, or penalties as are prescribed by the law and are necessary in a democratic society, in the interests of national security, territorial integrity, or public safety, for the prevention of disorder or crime, for the protection of health or morals, for the protection of the reputation or rights of others, for preventing the disclosure of information received in confidence, or for maintaining the authority and impartiality of the judiciary. So in summary, as long as you do not violate certain aspects, such as inciting violence, disclosing private information, insults, and defamation, among other things, you can have your freedom of speech. So is this really freedom at all? It seems much restricted to me, and it basically spells don't be an asshole. So the real question here is, how limited is our freedom of speech, right? And what can we do to get around it? Are we always expected to never criticize people? Flat earthers, anti-vaccine believers, how can we not criticize them if it's for their benefit, right? To change their mindset and adapt to the scientific evidence that has always been proven year after year, decades after decades. Should we, do we really need to respect their opinions? Obviously no, right? Hello, cannot. This train of thought is detrimental to our progress as humans. And religion sits on a very gray line here. It's a huge topic to discuss on, but how realistically can we believe that there's a man in the sky waiting to punish us for bad things he knew we'd do, but yet gave us the freedom to do so? So which rolls back to the freedom of speech, right? You're not entirely free to say everything, but just as free will never gave us the right to do whatever we felt like. So France, like most European nations, have been moving away from religion, with around 29% atheists and 63% identify themselves as non-religious. The emphasis on religious beliefs have therefore dropped as well. Just like how we criticize flat earthers, France had slowly developed the ability to do the same for religion. So with the cartoon of the prophet shown by a company known for its satire, little did they expect what was to come. Flat earthers are also allowed to carry gun in the United States, for information. So now you have a group of people abusing their freedom of speech, and then you have the other religious party that has the entire spectrum of peaceful people to the radical extreme. They are going to clash, and this is going to cause a problem of its own, and it's only going to escalate when the radical extreme are triggered. So faithful believers that are binded by hate with confidence of 72 virgins waiting for them upon death, they have very little to lose, right? If they die, they're winning. So ISIS, Al-Qaeda are examples of how people can be easily weaponized for destruction in the name of religion. There could be a lot of anger and frustration built up within the France terrorist attackers. Who knows? This could have been the result of brainwashing or even systemic oppression by the local community, or both. But one thing is definitely wrong, and that is retaliation with murder. These terrorist attacks are definitely uncalled for, and I'm sure there are definitely better ways around this problem that does not involve killing. Two wrongs don't make a right. There should be criticism on the insensitivity from the display of Prophet Muhammad's cartoon, definitely. We need to learn to respect everyone's religion and culture, but it hardly justifies murder of any kind, right? Tolerance is key here, and education is far more important now than ever. Stop the killing, learn to live in peace and harmony. If you think this is an important event and people should be made aware, please share this podcast episode on any social media platform of your choice. Until next time, stay safe and take care.